This is The Witcher 3 in 2025, and honestly, it's still one of the easiest recommendations I can make. If you have never played it, then yes, it is absolutely worth your time. If you played it years ago and you're thinking about a replay, also a big yes there. Hello everyone, I'm Time Well Played, where your time matters more than mine, so let's not waste it. As always, the verdict comes first. For me, The Witcher 3, as you probably already guessed, gets a solid 9 out of 10, meaning it earns the Golden Time Well Played stamp. And it's not because it's perfect, because really it isn't, but because it respects your time in a way a lot of modern open worlds just don't. So in this video I want to answer one question. If you boot up The Witcher 3 today, with all the games you could be playing instead, is it still worth sinking dozens of hours into Geralt's world? We'll talk about the gameplay, the world, the story, the next gen update, and also the one big catch: this game is massive. Let's start out with the basics. What are you actually doing in The Witcher 3? Most of your time is spent doing three things. You follow the main story, you pick up contracts and side quests, and you just wander. You ride into a village, there's a notice board, you grab a Witcher contract, and suddenly you're tracking a monster through the woods at night. And the crazy part is, even now, after all these years, the game still pulls you into that loop really naturally. You don't open the map and think, ugh, 400 icons, here we go again. You open the map and you go, okay, I'll just ride over there real quick and see what that question mark is. Cut to 3 hours later and you're knee deep in some cursed family drama because you spoke to one random NPC. What I really like in 2025 is that The Witcher 3 doesn't feel like it's begging for your attention the way a lot of newer games do. There are no daily quests, no fear of missing out events, no battle pass sitting in the corner telling you you're behind. You can leave it for a week, come back, and the only thing that's changed is where you left Geralt standing. It's still an action RPG at its core. You fight, you loot, you level up, you get new gear, but the feel of the game is more like reading a huge fantasy book that you keep coming back to in the evening, instead of a checklist that screams at you every time you log in. The thing that still blows me away the most is the world. Not just how it looks, but how it feels to move through it. You've got the worn-torn swamps of Velen, the colorful chaos of Novigrad, the autumn vibes in White Orchard, and then Skellige with its wild seas and great skies. Even in 2025, you can boot this up and just ride for a bit, and it always hits. What The Witcher 3 gets right is that exploration doesn't feel empty. You're not just riding past copy-paste camps with the same three enemies over and over. You find a hut with a weird backstory, or a priest doing something he really shouldn't, or a tiny quest that's more memorable than an entire main mission in some other games. And it also really helps that the game is totally fine with you playing at your own pace. You can mainline the story and ignore half the map. You can do the opposite and just live in side quests and contracts for hours. And both are valid ways to play. The game doesn't punish you for not being a completionist. For me personally, replaying this game now, it's the kind of world where you think, I'll just clear this one little thing before bed. And then suddenly you're doing a horse race, a fist fight, and helping some random guy you met on the road, and it all somehow fits together. I'm not going into major spoilers here, but we have to talk about the story and the characters, because that's still where The Witcher 3 separates itself from a lot of modern open worlds. Geralt is a monster hunter, but the game is just as interested in his relationships as it is in the monsters. The way he talks to Ciri, to Yennefer or Triss, it all feels very grounded, kind of tired, often funny in a very dry way. What still holds up incredibly well are the side stories. Everyone mentions the Bloody Baron questline, and honestly, yeah, there is a reason, but there are dozens of smaller arcs that hit just as hard emotionally. They just don't get clipped into YouTube videos as much. The dialogue also feels really sharp in 2025. Jokes land, serious moments have weight, and even the smaller choices often have some kind of payoff later. even if it's just a small comment or a changed outcome to a quest. Playing it now, after years of other big games trying the same thing, you kind of see how hard it actually is to pull this off. A lot of games have okay gameplay and a huge open world, but very few have side quests that stick with you years later. The Witcher 3 pulls this off. Alright, let's talk about where The Witcher 3 is starting to show its age a little bit, and that is in the combat and the builds. If you come straight from super snappy modern action games, the fighting in Witcher 3 might feel a little bit floaty at first. Geralt has this sort of dance to his sword swings. It's stylish, but not always super precise. You've got your fast attack, your strong attack, you get dodges and rolls, bombs, potions, and of course the Witcher signs like Igni and Quen. And once you really start to lean into that preparation fantasy, drinking potions before a fight or applying the right oil to your sword, it really starts to click. But if you just mash light attack, it can feel a bit spammy, especially on lower difficulties. So yeah, the combat isn't perfect, and you can feel that it's a 2015 game under the hood, but with the right difficulty setting and a little bit of role-playing, it still holds up enough to support the rest of the experience. One of the reasons The Witcher 3 is so easy to come back to in 2025 is the visuals. With the newer update, the next-gen update, the game genuinely looks stunning. The lighting, the weather, the way the wind moves through the trees, the muddy roads after a storm, it all sells the atmosphere so well. You can stand on a cliff in Skellige and just exist there for a second. Is it on the level of the very newest AAA games? Of course not. But because the art direction is so strong, the game ages like a good wine instead of a quickly outdated tech demo. Performance-wise, depending on your platform and settings, it's obviously smoother now than it used to be. And if you're on PC with a decent rig, you can push it pretty far without the game completely melting. Bottom line, if jealously looking at screenshots was one of your reasons to maybe replay it, yeah, visually it is still more than worth it. So the big question is, with a backlog of games the size of Novigrad, is The Witcher 3 still worth your time in 2025? And here's my honest take. If you're looking for something quick, something you can finish in a weekend and move on from, The Witcher 3 is probably not the game for you right now. This game is huge. Even if you don't go for every single quest, you're still looking at dozens of hours of gameplay. But if you want one big, chunky, single-player RPG that you can keep coming back to after work or school, where the world feels alive, the writing still holds up, and you don't feel pressured by timers or FOMO mechanics, then yes, this is absolutely worth your time. And the cool thing is, you don't have to 100% it for it to be worth it. You don't need every question mark, every Gwent card, every little cave. If you just let yourself sink into a handful of great questlines, enjoy the characters, live in that world for a while, you've already gotten your value out of it. For me, replaying it now reminded me that not every game has to be content. Not everything has to be rushed so you can move to the next big release. Sometimes it's okay to just have one game that you slowly chew through. And The Witcher 3 is perfect for that. So yeah, wrapping this up, in 2025, The Witcher 3, as I've stated before, is absolutely worth your time. If you've been looking for a sign to finally start it or to come back to your old save file, this is your sign. That's it for me. I'm Time Well Played, and if I saved you some time today, please consider giving some back with a like or a subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.